Reading Genesis chapter 31, verse 1. Jacob flees from Laban. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. Verse 2. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Verse 3. Then the Lord said to Jacob, Go back to the land your father and fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. Verse 4. So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. Verse 5. He said to them, I see that your father's attitude towards me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. Verse 6. You know that I've worked for your father with all my strength. Verse 7. Yet your father worked for your father. Yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. Verse 8. If he said, the speckled ones will be your wages, then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, the streaked ones will be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked young. Verse 9. So God has taken away your father's livestock and has given them to me. Verse 10. In breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flocks were streaked, speckled, or spotted. Verse 11. The angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. I answered, Here I am. And verse 12. And he said, Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. Verse 13. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land. Verse 14. Then Rachel and Leah replied, Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Verse 15. Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Verse 16. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our fathers Surely all the wealth that God took away from from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you. Verse 17. Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels. Verse 18. And he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Verse 19. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household goods. Household goods or what? When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household goods. What? I don't know. The NIV. I actually maybe I should go to search what that is. In chapter 31 of Genesis, there is a verse in there is a word that can me in NIV. Verse 19 has gods in the end of the sentence. I was correct. It is idols. Why is there idols in what? Teraphim. This one doesn't make any sense. Does it say? Never mind. This one is idols. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Verse 19. Verse 20. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was running away. Verse 21. So he fled with all he had, crossed the Euphrates River, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. Verse 22. Laban pursues Jacob. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Verse 23. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill of country of Gilead. Verse 24. Then God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Verse 25. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Yeah, that's persistence. Verse 26. Then Laban then Laban wait. Then Laban said to Jacob, what have you done? You've deceived me, and you've carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off the why did you run off verse 27? Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joys and sing to the music of timbrels and harps? What? Is this just guilt tripping? It looks like guilt tripping. Verse 28. You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. Verse 29. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Verse 30. Now you have gone off because you long to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? Ah! Finally clicked. Laban. Laban. My goodness. The hormones in my body keeps. Man. Verse 31. Jacob answered Laban, I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. Verse 32. But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me. And if so, take it. Now Jacob didn't know that Rachel had stolen the gods. Ah, of course. Of course. Verse 33. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of the two female servants. But he found nothing. Did you forget Rachel? What? What? What happened? Why is Leia your first pick? After he came onto Leon's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Okay, there it is. Verse 34. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them inside her camel saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent but found nothing. Verse 35. Rachel said to her father, Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period. So he searched but could not find the household gods. Bruh, I'm very glad. Oh, images. That's a probably old English thing. That's what uh idol words I guess are the olden days. Yep. Let's go with the other one. Ah. Verse 36. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. What is my crime? He asked Laban. How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Verse 37. Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. Verse 38. I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. Verse 39. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. I'm guessing Rachel will not believe in the God of David. Wait, God of David? The God of Abraham. And will instead go to the idols. Verse 40. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime and the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. Verse 41. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you for you, 14 years for your two daughters, and 6 years for your flocks. And you changed my wages 10 times. Verse 42. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty handed. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. Laban answered Jacob, the women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. Bruh, change ownership. They're not yours anymore. You see, it's mine. Yet what I wet yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have born? Verse 44. Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. Verse 45. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. Verse 46. He said to his relatives, gather some stones. So they took so they took stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. What? What happened to verse 45? What happened to verse 55? Oh, verse 47. Laban called it Yigar Sahudata, and Jacob called it Galid. Verse 58. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me and today. Between you and me today. That is why it was called Galid. 49. It was so called Mizpah because he said, may the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. Verse 50. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Verse 51. Laban also said to Jacob, here is this heap, and here is this pillar I've set up between you and me. Verse 52. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. Verse 53. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. Verse 54. He offered a sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Verse 55. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. That's really weird. I think I need to watch a video on that later. Like later. It's really interesting. I'll be gone in a bit. I am back. Let's now read Genesis 32, chapter 32. Genesis chapter 32, verse 1. Jacob prepares to meet Esau. Jacob also went on his way, and the angels of God met him. Verse 2. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of God." So he named that place Mahanaim. Mahanaim. Verse 3. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Verse 4. He instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now." Verse 5. "I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, male and female servants. Now I am sending this message to my lord that I may find favor in your eyes." Verse 6. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." Verse 7. In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people who were with him into two groups, and the flocks and the herds and camels as well. Verse 8. He thought, "If Esau comes and attack one group, the group that is left may escape." Verse 9. Then Jacob prayed, "O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, Lord, you who said to me, 'Go back to your country and your relatives, and I will make you prosper.'" Verse 10. "I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now I have become two camps." Verse 11. "Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with their children." Verse 12. "But you have said, 'I will surely make you prosper, and will make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted.'" Oh, oops. Verse 13. He spent the night there, and from what fro- he spent the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esau. Verse 14. 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams. Verse 15. 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. Verse 16. He put them in the care of his servant, each herd by itself, and said to his servants, "Go ahead of me and keep some space between the herds." Verse 17. He instructed the one in the lead, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks, 'Who do you belong to? And where are you going? And who owns all these animals in front of you?'" Verse 18. Then you are to say, "They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he is coming behind us." Verse 19. He also instructed the second, third, and all the others who followed the herds. "You are to say the same thing to Esau when you meet him." Verse 20. And be sure to say, "Your servant Jacob is coming behind us, for he thought I will pacify him with these gifts I am sending on ahead. Later on, I see him, perhaps he will receive me." Verse 20, verse 21. So Jacob's gifts went on ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. I see. What is happening? Why is there 33 here? But there's a 32 here. What? Am I missing something? Ah! Somehow verse 1 got transferred from verse 55 of the previous chapter. Verse 22, Jacob wrestles with God. That night, Jacob got up and took his two wives, his two female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. Verse 23, after he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. Verse 24, so Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. Verse 25, when the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that his hip was drenched as he wrestled with the man. Verse 26, then the man said, let me go, for it is daybreak. But Jacob replied, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Verse 27, the man asked him, what is your name? Jacob, he answered. Verse 28, then the man said, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel. Because verse 29, Jacob, wait, then the man said, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God, with the humans, and have overcome. Verse 29, Jacob said, please tell me your name. But he replied, why do you ask my name? And he blessed him there. Verse 30, so Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, it is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared. Verse 51, the sun rose above him as he passed Peniel, and this he was limping because of his hip. Verse 32, therefore to this day the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. I see. Oh. Let's read verse 31. Hey, verse 33. Verse 33. Chapter 33. Jacob meets Esau. What am I doing? Chapter 34. Wait, it is chapter 33. Chapter 33. Jacob meets Esau. Verse 1. Jacob looked up, and there was Esau coming with his 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the two female servants. Verse 2. He put the female servants and their children in front. What the hell? That's a crazy operation. Leah and their children next, Rachel and Joseph in the rear. Verse 3. He himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. Verse 4. But Esau ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Verse 5. Then Esau looked up and saw the woman and children. Who are these with you? He asked. Jacob answered, they are the children God has graciously given your servant. Verse 6. Then the female servants and their children approached and bowed down. Verse 7. Next Leah and her children came and bowed down. Last of all came Joseph and Rachel, and they too bowed down. Verse 8. Esau asked, what's the meaning of all these flocks and herds I met? Find a favor in your eyes, my lord, he said. Verse 9. But Esau said, I already have plenty, my brother. Keep what you have to yourself, for yourself. Verse 10. No, please, said Jacob. If I have found your favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God. Now that you have received me favorably. Huh, that's interesting. Verse 11. Please accept the presents that was brought to you, for God has been gracious to me and I have all I need. And because Jacob insisted, Esau accepted it. Verse 12. That Esau said, let us be on our way. I'll accompany you. But Jacob said to him, my lord knows that the children are tender and that I must care for the ewes and cows that are nursing their young. If they are given, if they are driven hard just one day, all the animals will die. Verse 14. So let my Lord go on ahead of his servant, while I move along slowly at the pace of the flocks and the herds before me, the pace of the children, until I come to you, my Lord, in Seir. Seir. Verse 15. Why did it turn dark? Oh, the clouds. The clouds. Verse 15. Esau said, then let me leave some of my men with you. But why do that? Jacob asked. Just let me find favor in the eyes of my lord. Verse 16. So that they Esau started on his way back to Seir. Verse 17. Jacob, however, went to Succoth, where he built a place for himself and made shelters for his livestock. That is why the place is called Succoth. Verse 18. After Jacob came from Padan Aram, he arrived safely at the city of Shechem in Canaan and camped within sight of the city. Verse 19. For 100 pieces of silver he bought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, the plot of ground where he pitched his tent. Verse 20. There he set up an altar and called it El Elohe Israel. Elohe Israel. God is the God of Israel. Very nice. Nice, nice. Well, that's the end. I read three. My throat is killing me. I'm ending stream in couple. Thank you. Amen.